Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vugenjani Vanave Africa. It's Friday and we couldn't be more excited. Welcome to this end of week broadcast hosted by Aina Raizakoya and Diana Master. We are bringing you pertinent stories from across Africa. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Could never been better.
Looking lovely in red.
Thank you.
Now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Children hospitalized after being tear gassed in Nairobi. Government moves to have key sickle cell drug made in Tanzania. Floods force Indian capital to shut schools, offices and plan water rationing. We'll also be crossing over to Zambia as we speak to Mike Sichila so that he can update us on all the news making headlines that side. Stick around, we'll be right back with our top stories.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
In our top stories this morning, children hospitalized after being tear gassed in Nairobi. 53 children have been rushed to a hospital in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, after falling unconscious when tear gas was thrown into their class by police during protest. Eagleness Home Hospital owner Dr. Aaron Shikuku told BBC they have been able to stabilize the children who have been at the hospital for about 4 hours. There have been protests around the country called by the opposition over the rising cost of living. 6 people are reported to have died as protesters stormed a police station and torched it, and another man died after a police van was attacked along with the Nairobi Expressway in Mlongolongo on the outskirts of the city.
Moving over, floods force Indian capital to shut schools, offices and plan water rationing. Flooding in parts of New Delhi forced the city government to close all education institutions in India's capital yesterday and advised people to work from home, while warning that there would be water rationing after the Yamuna River broke its banks. Since the rainy monsoon began on June the 1st, Delhi has recorded 113% above average rainfall, the India Meteorological Department said, and the rains in the hilly states to the north have fed the river's flood waters. Video footage showed submerged roads in the downtown area where government and private companies' offices are located, with water halfway up the sides of parked cars. Other images showed the road by the city's historical Red Fort also underwater.
In our next story, government moves to have a key sickle cell drug made in Tanzania. The government is engaging in discussions with key stakeholders in the healthcare sector to establish a local manufacturer of hydroxyurea, a medicine used to treat sickle cell. The discussion, according to the Chief Medical Officer, Prof. Tumaini Nago, are focused on establishing a sustainable supply chain and improving access and affordability. Prof. Nango was speaking yesterday during an official launch of the Lancet Hematology Commission on the sickle cell disease at Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences. There is still a need for a sustainable supply of hydroxyurea at the medical store, she said, citing that current short-term initiatives by government were made to include the medicine in insurance cover to improve accessibility.
Now Floyd Mayweather arrives in Harare to help Mnangagwa campaign. Boxing legend Floyd Money Mayweather arrived in Harare yesterday morning to take part in the political campaign of Zimbabwe's autocratic leader Emmerson Mnangagwa. Since retiring in 2017, Mayweather has kept the money flowing by engaging in exhibition fights around the world for a minimum $500,000 according to Fight Hype. The cost of his trip to Harare could cost $1 million after he flew in by private jet, a Gulfstream G650. He was received at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport by dignitaries from Mnangagwa's ZANU-PF party, including the gold dealer Scott Sakupwanya, who hopes to draw on the retired boxer's star power to win the race for MP in Tafara Mabvuku, a poor neighborhood in Harare. A music concert has also been organized featuring nearly a dozen local artists, including Ja Praiser. Activists have taken to social media to urge the 46-year-old not to lend his support to Mnangagwa, who is accused of rights violations and using state institutions to prevent his rivals from campaigning freely.
Interesting news indeed. Moving over to our next story, Parliament passes a NACOC bill to allow cannabis cultivation for industrial and medical purposes. Ghana's Parliament has passed into law the Narcotics Control Commission Bill 2023. As a result, the Ministry of the Interior has the responsibility of issuing licenses for the cultivation of cannabis, opening up avenues for the utilization of this versatile plant. This milestone achievement comes after the Supreme Court intervened and declared Section 43 of the law as unconstitutional, thereby hindering the smooth passage of the legislation. On the 12th of July 2023, Parliament took up the Narcotics Control Commission Bill 2023, which consists of a single clause that, once passed, will empower the minister to grant licenses of cannabis cultivation within the country. With the enactment of this law, Ghana takes a significant step towards harnessing the potential benefits of cannabis cultivation.
That brings us to the end of our top stories. We'll be right back after this break with news from Zambia with Mike Sichula.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
You're watching Africa Good Morning. Now this week, the International Monetary Fund Executive Board is expected to decide on the first review of the IMF-supported program for Zambia. Here to tell us more is Mike Sichula. Good morning, Mr. Sichula.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. So, once the Executive Board review is approved, Zambia will have an access to 188 million United States dollars. This will bring the total IMF financial support dispersed under the arrangement to 376 million United States dollars. This is under the Extended Credit Facility Program. Zambia is expected to put in fiscal policy reforms, restore debt sustainability, and improve debt management, among other things, with this IMF support that has been coming through. So Zambia is expected to have more money in circulation, and this is also likely, if in the immediate term, it will lead to lower exchange rates, which in some cases has contributed to the higher cost of living amongst Zambians in the last 2 to 3 years.
All right, Master Sichula, in a related development, Zambia has taken a step towards restructuring nearly $3 billion in international bonds. What are the latest developments on this?
So, according to the Reuters newspaper, this makes a key step in beginning of reform talks to restructure international euro bonds. So the first euro bond Zambia got was way back in somewhere after the 2020 after 2011, Zambia got 750 million United States dollars as Eurobond. So this money was meant to improve infrastructure development and other developmental activities. Then later on, Zambia also got another Eurobond, so totaling up to 3 billion United States dollars. So the government is also expected to share some of the biggest international to discuss what the biggest international bond holders are telling the government on how they want to have their money received from Zambia. So a detailed information is yet to come from the Ministry of Finance on how this is going to move. But so this move after Zambia's Africa's second biggest copper producer is likely to increase confidence in the local economy. And experts are saying if the Eurobond holders agree to what government is putting on the table, then more investment is likely to come, and it also going to give government a breathing space so that they can use monies in other developmental activities as opposed to servicing the Eurobond. So more is expected to be revealed by the Ministry of Finance on what steps these Eurobond holders have told the government, and what government is also telling these Eurobond holders on how they want to repay the Eurobond.
All right, now, Mr. Sichula, in some not so good news, the first choice goalkeeper for the Copper Queens, Hazel Ndali, has been injured and will not be competing in the 2023 World Cup.
Quite a very sad story for Hazel Ndali. If you recall, during the AFCON in Morocco, she saved a penalty in the semi-finals, and she converted her penalty, which secured Zambia's qualification to the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. So it is a very sad story for her and also for the team in terms of team morale. So according to FAS General Secretary Ruben Kamanga, he says Ndali sustained a left knee injury during the time she was in Germany when Zambia was camped in Germany. So according to preliminary investigations that was done in Germany, which led to the player missing the friendly match, it is expected that she's going to take more weeks for her to recover. Hence, they have excused her from the team, and she's coming back to Zambia to continue medication and also treatment. So in her place, the Football Association of Zambia is making changes, and they're also going to bring in another goalkeeper so that the team continues with the preparations that they have done so far and put aside the sad development that Hazel Ndali has undertaken. So Zambia will play Germany on 22nd July, so that in their first game. So it's something that also the Football Association of Zambia wants not to derail the morale of the team so far.
All right, last but not least, Master Sichula, which nations did Zambia receive a draw against for the FIFA 2026 World Cup African qualifiers?
So the Chipolopolo have been drawn in Group E for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, where they will play Morocco, Congo, Brazzaville, Tanzania, Niger, and Eritrea. So in this group, only one team will qualify from the group for the tournament. That will see Africa have 9 nations represented at the 2026 World Cup. So Morocco is the biggest threat to Zambia. We also what Morocco did at the last World Cup, and Coach Avram Grant knows what is at stake in order to take the Chipolopolo to their maiden World Cup spot in 2026. So that's how the draw panned out for Zambia. And a number of soccer fans are expecting Zambia to do a better job, but they are seeing Morocco as a threat to Zambia's qualification to the 2026 World Cup.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sichula, for bringing us the latest news on the ground in Zambia.
Thank you so much. Do have a blessed week. Even if it is very cold, we need to keep warm and have a blessed weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And in order to keep warm, we do need to prepare. And by doing that, we can take a look at the weather predictions so that you can prepare accordingly.
Ndasilo Henda Katangolo Nakashwa of Ndalindali Farm in Opuo took home the high prize in the Capricorn Foundation's second phase of Food Waste Challenge. Yolanda Nell has more.
Good morning, everyone. How are we? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it has been such an enjoyable journey ever. Short period, but it's been just those what we call business one-on-one with no funding. Because when I enter this challenge, I have no idea. I remember my first pitch lesson. He could testify. I have no idea, and I was only given 5 minutes to do that. And that day, I even have a courage to carry my product already online. And I'm like, this is my product. It's like, okay. But at least with his such good skills, I think within a week, I master how I can do this. So it was not just about pinching or me. It was merely about the product. So colleagues, today really I'm so honored to share some of my remarkable successful stories of how I end up being in this loom with good people, good innovators, smart head and mind, who really have the skills, the passion, just to drive and ensure that Namibian nation, we don't go hungry.
Just say open innovation is about solving problems through collective creativity, from problem owners, obviously the problem solvers, the people who come forward with ideas, etc., and then the platform on which all of these things happen. And it's truly a matter of solving these complex issues. We require a network of people to do it. I also do want to say that why food waste? So why did we choose the topic of food waste? So I don't want to go into all the statistics again. I think it's the awareness around how much food gets wasted globally and in Namibia is terrible. And I think that picture summarizes it quite well. It's a, unfortunately, all too familiar sight in Namibia, people scavenging dump sites to find food. So food waste is a serious issue. It relates to the SDG of hunger for the United Nations.
We last met here on the 23rd of June when we had the 5 teams that were selected as the top 5 finalists standing here in front of a panel of 5 judges sharing their business plans. The ask was, how can they create or expand a social enterprise to address the issue of food waste, but also to create employment. That aspect of employment creation was the difference between last year's challenge and this year's challenge. So today's winner will be receiving a 100,000 Namibian dollar cash prize from the Capricorn Foundation to do exactly that, to expand on their business, and also a 50,000 Namibian dollar brand package from Synergy. And then Business Box will also share with us the support that the winner will receive going forward from Business Box. So it is quite a significant prize up for grabs today. So
it wouldn't be Africa Good Morning if we don't bring you the sports news with Ari Hogad.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with cycling news first. The Tour de France that continues, it was stage 11, there's going to be 21 stages. The Tour finishes on the 23rd of July. Stage 11 was quite a flat stage in the end, or the latter stages of the stage, and it was in the end Jasper Philipsen of Denmark that won it in a sprint. It was his fourth stage win for the 2023 cycle race. He had a powerful sprint in the end. He beat Dylan Groenewegen to the line, and in third position was Phil Bauhaus. General classifications, it is still Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark that is leading. His combined time, 46 hours, 34 minutes and 27 seconds. He's still leading by 17 seconds by Tadej Pogačar. Both of them had the same time in stage 11. And it is Jay Hindley in the third position, 2 minutes 40 seconds behind them in third position. Stage 12 will be very intriguing. It's going to be from Rhone to Belleville, and the distance will be 168 kilometers. It is significant because there will be 5 categorized climbs, so it is possible that one of Jonas Vingegaard or Tadej Pogačar might come to the fore and make an attempt to break away for the lead. Continuing international sports news with tennis news, it is Wimbledon that continue, and it is semi-finals time. It is coming closer to the finals on this weekend, and good news for Africa is that Tunisia's Ons Jabeur, she's through to the semi-final. She played against Elena Rybakina. The two of them played in the final in 2022 with Rybakina winning, but this time it's Ons Jabeur. She came out victorious in the quarter-final, and she beat Rybakina by 6-7, 6-4 and 6-1 to advance to the semi-final. In the semi-final, she will play Aryna Sabalenka, and Sabalenka, the second seed, will be a tough game for Ons Jabeur because Sabalenka beat Madeline Keys of the United States, 25 seed. She beat her by 6-2 and 6-4 quite convincingly. In the men's section, it is the semi-finals that also been determined. It was Carlos Alcaraz, number 1 seed. He beat Holger Rune by 7-6, 6-4, 6-4 to advance to the semi-finals. And it is Alcaraz that will play against Daniel Medvedev. He's the number 3 seed. Daniel Medvedev had a tough 5-set game against Christian Eubanks of United States. He beat him by 6-1 in the 5th set. The other semi-final will be played against Yannick Sinner. He's the number 6 seed, and also the defending champion, Novak Djokovic, he's 2nd seed. And continuing with cricket news, it is the Women's Ashes that is between England and Australia that continued, and a good result for England. England won the first of the 350 over ODIs, one-day internationals. They won it in Bristol by 2 wickets, and that means that in the Ashes points system they have 6 points all. That is Australia and England. It's Australia that won the first test, the one only test, and they also after that it was England that won the 2 T20 internationals, and there's 2 50 over internationals left in the series. And for England to win, they need to win both of these games to win the Ashes, and Australia just need to win one of the last 2 games.
You're watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, here are the news highlights. Children hospitalised after being tear-gassed in Nairobi. Floods force Indian capital to shut schools, offices and plan water rationing. Government moves to have key sickle cell drug made in Tanzania.
Those have been our stories. We thank you very much for joining our show this morning. Please be reminded that our show screens on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV 25 in Namibia. We also welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can post them on Facebook and Twitter. On that note, it's all our love, all our light. Happy Friday.